just like we train ourselves to do whatever we do to the best of our ability, in order to be proficient and in order to be able to achieve success in what we are doing, we have to practice. We never become perfect without practicing. And right from learning to walk as a toddler, the parents will hold the hands of their child and they will teach him or her to make their first step, and then the second step, and then the third step. And then the child, while practicing, will fall down a few times, but eventually the toddler will learn to walk. Then a time comes when the child wants to ride his bicycle, but he just cannot ride the bicycle just like that. There must be balance wheels on this bicycle. So the manufacturers created the two balance wheels on both sides, and then the child will sit on the bicycle and will start pedaling, but the balance wheel is there to balance the baby or the child from falling on both sides. Then eventually, while practicing with the balance wheel, the parents will then adjust the balance wheel a little upwards, and the child will start riding on two wheels. In case he leans, the balance wheel will bring back the bike into balance. That's why it's called balance wheels. Eventually, the child will practice and will learn to ride the bicycle on two wheels. And if sometimes they want to become expert, they use unicycle also. Riding one wheel. But that's a different story. My point is, practicing what we want to become or what we want to become good at, we have to start again and again and let the cycle goes on. Practicing makes us perfect. My friends, it's not only at the outer level we practice, we also practice at the inner level. You want to become an engineer? You have to study, you have to practice. You want to become a police officer? You have to go to the barracks, you have to train. It's not just about, I want to become a police officer and I carry the uniform. You want to become a doctor? You have to go and study in medical school, and then you have to go to the morgue at the University of the West Indies or whichever university and practice. Jai Bhagwan. Next story. After practice, my friends, even on the bodies that are there in the morgue. So that way the doctor also become perfect. So when the doctor gets in contact with a real alive person, he or she would have had some experience in cutting and doing surgery, etc., etc. My point is, we do not only train ourselves on the outside, but we also train the mind in the process of thinking. Now friends, we all know that the mind can go haywire, and the mind can run wild, and the mind can keep on thinking all sorts of thoughts, all type of emotions. If we allow the mind to get astray, or we allow the mind to run away by itself, and we do not take control and practice how to think, and train the mind how to think, and balance the mind as we spoke about last night, the mind would lose balance, and anytime the mind loses balance, we are going to fall. Fall into depression, fall into worries, fall into anxieties, fall into the wrong way of thinking. And that's why we have to train ourselves and train our children and guide their thoughts to think in a certain way, because when we train the mind will then become perfect in thinking. Now that is at the mental level. Now my friends, it is also said that the mind is the main instrument through which we can either liberate ourselves or we can find ourselves in the cycle of birth and in the cycle of death. According to what goes on in the mind, that is what is determining, that will determine, my friends, our future destination. That's, for example, according to what is in your mind deal, that is what you're going to do after the yajna is finished tonight. Isn't it? So, whatever is in the mind, that's what you're going to do after. My friends, after the yajna finishes tonight, and you have to go home, your mind goes on your home and you start going towards that direction, towards your home. Isn't it? When we conclude, after we have dinner, we are going home by God's grace. And the mind gets focused on that goal, and therefore we are going towards that destination. Now, just like when the yajna is finished, the mind goes to home, and then the body starts walking and driving in that direction. In the same way, when life is finished and the body can no longer go, the mind is on a certain goal. The mind is at a certain point. The mind has to go where the mind is thinking. And now the body is no longer there to go with the mind. And so the Atma, the soul, goes along with the mind, according to where the mind is destined to go, where the mind is thinking. Now, friends, is it a natural thing that when you finish tonight, you have to practice to go home? You have to practice to go home? Yes or no? Why do you have to practice? Why do you have to practice? Everybody does practice to go home. Why do I have to practice? My friends, we do not have to practice to go home because we are accustomed going home. Isn't it? We do not have to practice to go home because we are accustomed going home. My friends, that's the physical home. But if you are going to a new place, let's say you're going on a vacation and you're going to a hotel and you need direction to go there, and you have to practice to get accustomed to go to that hotel whenever you go out and you come back. You have to practice, you have to go. Now, in the same way, once you get accustomed going to your home or going to your hotel destination or to your hostel at your university, etc., to your apartment, you then become accustomed with this thing. So you naturally go.